Hello friends, in this video we'll be crafting these leather pauldrons as we continue our build of the warrior armor. This project is very beginner friendly, but will primarily focus on the assembly here, so if this is your first time tuning in, be sure to check out the other videos in this series. As always, the patterns will be available at the Prince Armory Academy. We'll be using 9 to 10 ounce vegetable tan leather for this build, which will let us shape the leather and decorate it to whatever degree we want. To keep things simple, we'll only be giving it a decorative groove and beveling the edges. Note that the patterns will offer some reference marks, so keep those handy. The dotted lines here indicate areas that will be overlapped, whereas the solid lines will generally indicate the areas that are decorative edges or areas that overlap. This tutorial is sponsored by Weaver Leather Supply. The leather and many of the tools you'll see me use can be found at Weaver Leather Supply's online store, which has everything you need to delve into this exciting and rewarding craft. They have a huge selection of leather, tools, hardware, and much more, all at great prices. And if you'd like to help support our channel, you can use the affiliate link in the description to stock up on your leather supplies for your next build. The patterns are labeled from A to G, and you'll want to start by submersing the pieces into water for a few seconds. This will prepare the pieces for any tooling and shaping. For the optimal results, you'll want to do just a little bit of wet forming over the central parts B and the side parts C1 and C2. You can stretch the leather over any domed surface. The first parts we need to put together are the side pieces C1 and C2, and the centerpiece part B. You can keep the patterns handy to reference for the correct orientation. To put everything together, I'm using these black double-capped rivets from Weaver Leather, and I'll be snapping them into place, then I'll come back with a rivet setter to set them permanently. Start at the bottom and set all of the rivets all the way up to the top. Alternatively, you can leave the topmost rivets open until attaching the top pieces through all 3 layers. You'd use a long rivet there, but either way is fine. To attach the top guard piece labeled A, just start at the center of part B and work your way down along the sides. Then you can refine the shape to your preference. Pauldron assembly. I suggest using Chicago screws. These will allow all the pieces to pivot freely. They're also many times stronger than rivets. Just don't forget to glue or thread lock the screw post when you're done, or they certainly will work themselves free over time. To put the lames together, you'll just go sequentially down the line of lettered pieces. You can optionally choose to omit any number of these lames according to your preference if you want to shorten the pauldrons. It's also a really good idea to add a strap on the bottom segment that loops around your upper arm to hold the piece in place better. You can also add a retaining strap to the middle of the inside, but it shouldn't be necessary. And to color the piece, we'll be going for black pro oil dye, but of course I would encourage you to go for whatever color scheme and tooling designs that you want. To finish the pieces and add some firmness, I'll be giving it an ample coat of Weaver's Tough Coat. You might find it easier to dye and finish the individual pieces at earlier stages in the assembly, but it's up to your preference. So the last thing to do is to attach the pauldrons. I expect most of you will want to attach this to the warrior breastplate, so that's what I'll show here. But if you'd like an alternate option, look up the Fantasy Spaulders tutorial, and there you can see how you could wear it as a standalone piece with a strap across the chest. And keep in mind there are many methods we can use to attach buckles to the armor, but buckles are pretty typical for my style of designs. And just as a reminder, there is a complete guide on buckles with free patterns at the Academy. I'll be mounting the buckle end of the strap at the top of the pauldron, and the tongue end on the breastplate itself, and I'll be punching a pass-through slot on the guard piece. When you're initially printing and scaling this design, just keep in mind there's a lot of wiggle room based on preference. You can adjust the size substantially up or down depending on what kind of visual look you're going for. If you're making the pauldrons to go with the female breastplate, I would expect you'll want to size it down by 10% or so, just for example. Or if you want something larger than life, you can scale it up. The buckle straps that I'm using here have a wide tab at the base, and I'm choosing to mount the buckle strap tongues upside down under the rim of the collar so they can fold over cleanly. You could alternatively just use smaller straps and mount them to the top. And that's pretty much it. This is a really easy build and a good neutral design style that can be tweaked for many styles. Give it a shot, and be sure to share your builds with us on Discord. And you can get subscribed so you don't miss the next one, which will be the war belt and skirting. I'll see you then.